All right, you guys, welcome back to the homestead. With a lot more people growing their food these days, what we're going to do today is I'm going to walk you guys through how to set up a raised bed, and then I'm going to give you a tip, probably one of the most forgotten things that anybody does when they build a raised bed, so it probably will save you a lot of heartache. So we're going to get busy. I'm going to show you how to put a couple beds together and give you my secret sauce. It's my secret sauce right there. Yeah. Now, the big thing is you can build a raised bed any size you want. We typically go with an 8-foot long bed, 4 foot wide. 4 foot is about the average reach across for a person to work a raised bed from one side. Okay, so you can make them wider, but you'll need to go to opposite sides to work the bed. So 4 feet is a pretty good distance, and as long as you want them, 8 foot is a good number for length, because I can use the same 8-foot boards, cut them in half, and then I have my ends, right, the 4-foot ends, so there's no waste. But if you get 10-foot boards and you want to do 4 foot wide, see how that works? You're going to have 2 feet of wasted space. So then you might want to go to a 5-foot bed, but then you'll have to walk around the other side. So take these tips. 8 foot is a good length, 4 feet wide is a good width, and I'll show you something else. Come on. Now, the other thing you can do that we did is just kind of make an L shape. Okay? So I was able to utilize the longer boards. I got 10 footers, and then I made a little L like that, and it works out really good. We can work it from both sides. It's still 4 feet wide. Still work it from both sides, and it just adds a little design feature to the garden. Now, the one thing you want to know is if you build a bed about 10 feet long, about 8 feet is pretty good. It's able to handle the pressure of the dirt inside. When you get about 10 feet, you're going to want to put some braces about in the middle, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind if you're going to build some raised beds and then fill them up, right? They're going to bow out some. Also, when you build your raised bed, which I'm going to show you guys here in a second, always look down your board and see which way it's bowing in. And then you want to put the bow, right, to the inside. That way the dirt will press up against it and kind of straighten your board out for you. I mean, we haven't even started yet, and you guys are learning so much stuff. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, and we're going to go show you how to make a bed right now. Now, the board material that I use for our raised beds is cedar. The reason why we use cedar is because it's very rot resistant. It'll really hold up to the elements outside with the dirt in it and getting rained on and all that stuff. Now, you can use pine, which is a less expensive alternative, but it's not going to last as long, okay? And if you're not really conscious about it, you can use any wood you want. But my wife and I, we grow organic food here on our homestead, and we use organic material. So this is raw cut cedar boards, and they really last a long time, and they'll actually do a really good job for you as well. So you're going to get your money's worth out of them. They're a little more expensive, but it's worth it. Remember, Grandma used to always say, you get what you pay for, sonny. So when you go on the cheap, it's not going to last you as long. Now, you can also build your raised beds as tall as you want, right? Some of the raised beds that we have here are 2 feet tall, and some are about 18 inches. And then we have some that are around 12 inches. And I think we have a few that are maybe around 6, which is basically about 1 board. These are 2x6s, and these are going to be true because they're raw cut. When you guys buy lumber at the lumber yard, it's not true. So if you get a 6-inch board, it's supposed to be 6 inches wide and 2 inches thick, you're going to get about 1.5 inches thick and about 5.5 inches wide. Okay? Not really sure about that. It's usually, they say it's because of the shrinking when they dry it, but you know, you should get what you pay for. It used to be that way anyway. So you just take your lengths, whatever they are, and your boards, the end boards, and you just start putting them together, okay? Pretty simple right off the bat. And then once we get this thing put together, I'm going to show you guys about our positioning. Forgot my battery. I do cheat a little bit. We do live off-grid in that log cabin there that we built ourselves from wood from the forest. But I do have some power tools that help make my job a little simpler. Some things we cut by hand, and sometimes we do pull out the power tools. We use a generator to power our batteries for this, and we get a little life out of them, and it helps speed up the job. And since we're already behind, speeding up the job's important. All right. Go. Get your boards. And then you start stitching them together. Now here's one tip I can give you guys right off the bat. When you join your ends together, you can either go to the outside of this main run, the long run. Okay, this would be the outside. Okay, see how that is? Or you could go to the inside. That's how they call that. So that's the outside, and then that's the inside. It really doesn't matter which way you pick, okay? But I'm just telling you, whichever way you pick, make sure you're consistent on both ends. So if you go to the outside on that down there, you want to go to the outside on this down here. And the reason why you want to do that is because that'll keep your board square, your whole raised bed square. If you start doing that, putting it on the inside here and the outside down there, your bed's going to be unsquare, and it's not going to look very good. It's going to be like something like that, right? And that's not what you want. You want to have a nice square bed. You don't want to have it like that, okay? Hopefully that made sense. All right. So we on the outside down there, we want to be on the outside down here. What have you guys been doing? Man, this between the weather and the crazy stuff out there and everything else, we're definitely behind a little bit. But we're gonna get caught up pretty fast, so you guys better strap on that seatbelt. Hopefully you can keep up, because we're gonna be moving quick. I like to run the screws in the ends. See how that is? To attach the boards together. That's a good solid connection right there. Okay? I do that on each one, and then I'll put the post here to secure it, which I'll show you in a second, and then I'll screw into the post as well. I like to use these deck screws because they're weatherproof, no problem, right? You don't want to use something that's going to rust and fall apart. And you don't want to use nails because eventually the dirt will push the boards off of the nails. The nails will tend to slide out, you know, allowing your board to separate. Okay, one row down. See how easy this is? I mean, once you start doing them, you can click together raised beds very quickly. Very quickly, Johnny. Jimmy Johns. All right, remember earlier I told you guys about looking down your board? You want to lay it on its side like this and just look straight down it. And you'll normally see there's going to be a bend. It'll either bend like this or it'll bend like that, right? One way or the other. So what you want to do is you want to find that cup. You want to turn it, right? This one's already facing the right way. But you want to turn it so the bend goes into the bed. Like I said, the dirt's going to push on the walls and it'll straighten that board out for you. Okay? All right. So we'll get this rows all done. I've already showed you how to do it. And then we'll square it up and put the corner posts on. I'll show you that next. Now the nice thing about the raised beds is that there's no wrong or right length or height or anything, okay? I think what you got to really keep conscious of is what you're growing. Some things like to grow in deeper soil, sweet potatoes for instance. So some of our beds have 3 boards high and some of them are 4 boards high and some are 2. I was mentioning that earlier. So what you want to do is you want to think about what you're going to be planting in the beds, and even as you rotate, because sometimes we rotate our crops to different beds. Not that you have to in raised beds, because every year we're replenishing the minerals that were used the previous growing year. If you're out in the dirt and you guys are running the rows down the dirt and using the tiller and all that hard work and all that, make sure you're rotating your crops, okay? Because each crop depletes certain minerals from the dirt, and if you keep putting it there and keep putting it there and keep putting it there, you're going to get bad results, okay? Unless you're doing some hardcore amending to your soil. So this bed here is going to be for our sweet potatoes, and we're going to make this bed a little bit higher because the sweet potatoes like to go down and spread out, and we want to get big sweet potatoes. So I'm going to make this one here 4 boards high. And also some of your tomatoes, if you don't really need deep beds for tomatoes, at least 2 or 3 boards though for sure. But the tomatoes are really easy to pick when they're high up off the ground already, and then when they grow you just walk right up and you're like pluck. Whereas if you don't do that, you have to bend down and all that jazz. Alright, so I'm making one more in for this board here. 4 feet. See how that is? This stuff is so easy, guys. So easy. But stay tuned, because you guys want to know about my secret sauce. You are definitely going to want to stay tuned for what we're putting in these beds, because what we're putting in these beds, or what you put in your beds, is a huge determination on how well your crops are going to do, right? If you use junky old dirt that you just find somewhere, just because you want to put dirt in a raised bed, it's really not going to do as good as if you used a composted, you know, material that's been loved and nurtured and brought up to provide nutrients. Some dirt is like, you know, there's different layers of dirt. Okay, you have your topsoil, which is like the real good brown stuff, and then as you go deeper down into the earth, it gets more clayey, or depending on where you live, it could get rocky, you know, stuff like that underneath the top level. Okay, so your topsoil, that's like premium stuff. It almost tastes or feels like baby powder. So smooth and delicious. This dirt here would be considered a topsoil because this has been broken down wood chips for many, many years. So we're starting to get some good dirt in here. The reason why we're growing food in raised beds is because Stacy didn't really care for the Back to Eden garden method, and since she's our primary food grower, I do all the muscle work and help with the harvesting and preserving, but she's out here tending the garden most times. And she didn't really care for the Back to Eden. We tried it several years. Things wouldn't grow, some stuff would, and it was really hit and miss. And when you're trying to live 100% growing your own food, which we're probably in the 90 percentiles right now, it's a big deal. So you only get one shot every year to grow your food that makes it all the way through winter. And stay tuned. We're going to take you guys through our root cellar and give you an update on how we fared with our food that we stored last year to get us through the winter, and where we're at right now with it in April. Because this is April, right? All this stuff's going on. I'm starting to lose track of the days a little bit. Stacy usually goes into town Tuesday, spends the night with her aunt, and then comes home Wednesday. And she hasn't been doing that, so the days just are running together now. Except for Shabbat. We always take our Shabbat. All right, I'm going to cut this board here and show you what's up. All right. So easy. Couple little hand tools. Supposedly got a little rain moving in too. What's new? If it's not for the wind or the rain, wouldn't know what was normal around here anymore. We're getting wind and rain like crazy. I think we had some 30, 40 mile an hour winds for 2 to 3 days almost. Actually blew over the beehive. Oh my gosh. Dr. Leo is going to come up pretty soon, so if you guys are interested in those bee videos, we're going to be opening up that beehive pretty soon here in the next couple days. Maybe within the week, next week. And we're going to show you guys how they overwintered, and he's going to give you guys some great tips. So if you guys have not hit that subscribe button, maybe this is your first time checking us out. My wife and I live in a log cabin, and we live off-grid with no electricity, no public utilities, and we grow and harvest most of our own food, which includes harvesting honey for sweetener and for antibiotics and just for general good health. So stay tuned for those videos, and if you hit the subscribe button and turn on your bell for notifications, you'll be right there when we turn on that switch and start putting out all that good information. I love it. Really nice guy, Dr. Leo. Just gonna pre-put these holes in here. Or screws, I mean. Pre-put these screws in. Makes it a little easier. And don't forget, you got to check your boards every single time, so you know which way they're bending. What we're going to do now is install our corner posts. So what I like to do is put corner posts on each corner of the box, and then I'll screw in on each board 2 screws, and that'll really help bind up these corners, because when you put the dirt in here, believe it or not, there's going to be a lot of pressure pushing on those boards. So you want to try to secure it up as much as you can. And don't forget my tip, if you go longer than 8 feet, you might want to put in some cross bracing. Okay? So we're going to see how long our bed is, maybe even 22 and a half. 22 and a half. Alright. I'm telling you, it's so easy. You guys could be growing food instead of buying all that processed garbage stuff with all those chemicals on it, making your gut sick, in turn making you sick. And then what happens when you're sick? You're catching all kinds of viruses. So that's what you don't want. Alright, let's get our stuff lined up here on the end. And what I'll normally do is lock in one corner, and then I'll check my square, which means I'll go to each corner, check my distances, just to make sure I'm square. That's going to give me a nice aesthetic look. Now one thing I do is I stagger my screws here. Outside, inside, inside, outside, and on down the line. That'll just keep the board from twisting or anything like that.
Well, while Doug's working on my raised beds for me that I'm really excited about, I'm going to top dress my existing beds that I have over there with a mix of the raised bed mix and compost. And my plants grow really well with it. I just love it. Doug cheats, he uses the skid steer. Don't you guys ever wonder what happens to all your dirt in your beds? It's like the dirt fairy comes and takes it away every year, and it's like, where did it all go? It took me so long to get it in there. But basically that's not what happens. You have, it settles over time, the wind blows and it may blow away. So it's our job every year to go ahead and top dress our beds and make sure they have enough soil so our plants can grow. And that's what I'm doing right now.
Stacy's been hard at work at it. I don't know, did you hear about I cheat because I use a skid steer? Ha! Well, don't forget, she's top dressing and I'm filling the whole box. You hear Elsa over there, she just, every couple hours, hey, hey. Gotta feed her again. Go, 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 go. All right, we're trying to beat the rain, guys. We're gonna do it. We're gonna make it. We're building 5 beds here today. We already got 3 down. Stacy's hard at work getting all the compost and stuff in the top dressing layers. Yeah, I still gotta show you the thing that everybody forgets to do when they build a raised bed, plus the secret sauce. So don't go anywhere. Stay tuned. Now what we're gonna do is just check square. It's not really that important. I mean, you're not building a house or anything. But you like your beds to look nice, and if you don't square them up, they're going to be a little cattywampus, and you won't like that when you look at it. Your OCD will be all tripping out. 111 inches. And we do this before we lock in the corners, So that way we make sure we're square. So right here I'm about 110.5. So I got to kind of kick it that way a little bit. Nice. Doesn't take much. And then you'll just go around all the corners and start securing your post.
Here comes the rain. So just remember, guys, when you look at your soil, the health of your soil determines the health of the food and the nutrition of the food that you're putting inside of you. Just like you guys need to be healthy, to have a healthy gut and to feel good, you need to have the proper minerals and nutrients in your body. So you need calcium and magnesium and potassium and all these things. The soil is the same thing, and without that and having a good organic type compost and soil, then that's what sucks up into the plant itself, and then you're going to get it inside of you. So that's why I would say it is crucial and critical that you have a good soil, because that's what you're going to get when you eat your food.
Now we're going to share with you guys the one thing that a lot of people forget when they do raised beds is some hardware cloth. That's what they call this stuff. It's like a wire mesh. And what you want to do is you want to put it in the bottom of your raised beds, so any of those moles, voles, weevils, devils, and all those things that want to eat the roots of your plants and wipe out your raised beds, same thing they do in your garden, by the way. This is going to stop them from getting in there. More food security. Pretty easy stuff. You stretch it out, put it in the bottom, and then you put your compost right on top. Yeah, that's right. That rain's a-coming too. Hope we make it. This is what we've been up against, guys. If you garden and do this stuff for yourself, you're going to be up against this all the time, the weather. Turn this the other way. It's tending to roll up on me that way. So we'll put it in this way and it'll work with me just a little better. Oh yeah, see how that just goes right in there like that? Really going to make a big difference. You don't want anything coming up in there and eating your roots of your plants, I'll tell you that. I worked too hard to grow this food to let the animals get it. That's why we have this beautiful enclosed garden space. It just helps produce more food. All right. Nice. Turn it upside down. Work with you a little better. And there you go. Alright. Man, now first I was fighting the rain, now I'm fighting the dark. Now we're going to talk about the secret sauce. You guys got to have good dirt if you're going to grow good food. Okay? The secret sauce. Every garden starts with some secret sauce. You got to have the secret sauce to have a good garden. If you just have crappy old dirt out there, you're not going to have a good garden. You're probably going to have more weeds than anything edible because your pHs and all that other stuff is going to be messed up. So you got to have the secret sauce, okay? Now what we have here is a compost from our friends at Bluebird Composting. They're in Missouri. So if you guys are in O'Fallon or St. Peter's or St. Charles or any of those places, anywhere around the whole state of Missouri, pretty much get this product delivered right to your door. And they do deliver in bulk, okay? Now, they are sponsors of the Homesteading Life Conference. If you guys don't know about the Homesteading Life Conference, that's a conference that we hold every year in August in Missouri, where we teach you guys all this stuff. We have some great presenters, we have great workshops, and he'll be there, Raj, the guy who owns the place, talking about compost. So you guys can learn about dirt, the best dirt for your gardens, and all this kind of stuff that really makes a difference on what you're growing in your gardens. This is OMRI certified. This is OMRI stands for Organic Materials List, and basically they are a non-for-profit organization, and they are responsible for testing and checking out this compost to make sure that it's up to snuff and it's organic. So you can't have any trash or any kind of plastics or any junk in it. It's got to be all good stuff. So there's a big science on this. You guys got to go to their website if you want to investigate this compost. Like there's rice hulls. I know they use food from restaurants. It's strictly organic. Check out their website. It's going to be a link down below the first comment. And if you're interested in getting some, if you live in the Missouri area, then you can use coupon code OFFGRID to save a few bucks. They're a friend of ours, and they wanted to extend that out to you guys because it's time to get growing and get yourselves put together. We love growing in raised beds, okay? We've tried a team of Belgians. I plowed with a team of Belgians. Basically, this whole area here was our garden that I plowed with the Belgians, and we disced and we harrowed and we hoed and we weeded and we sweated and we cried. And then we got rid of it. And then we moved on to the Back to Eden garden, right? With all the wood mulch chips and all that works really good. And I'll bet if you guys are paying attention, you're seeing people on YouTube that really talked a lot about Back to Eden garden moving away from it. They might not be telling you, but if you watch the videos and you're assertive, you see that they're moving away from it. For us, nothing produces like the raised beds, okay? We can get an earlier start in the year. Why? Because the soil can warm up faster because it's above the ground. How about that? So we get a little quicker start on the year as far as the growing goes, okay? It's a little more controlled, right? So like we don't have to worry so hard about weeding. We come out, it's basically really easy just to snatch a weed out of here. So when you see a weed growing into your food, boom, it's almost waist high, you just pluck it right out. All the other methods, trust me, I did them. Hoeing, 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 hoeing. And believe me, weeds only like to come out when it's about 110 degrees. So we didn't like that either. Raised beds, guys, has been a godsend. We've gotten way more production, okay? We enjoy gardening a lot more, right? We have help from our friends down at Bluebird Compost to put this nice compost together. And then once you get it established, you can pretty much just add your own compost to it if you guys are composting on your place here. We have our Humanure compost, you guys know. We do use a composting toilet, and we use this as a top dressing on these beds in the future as we supply more and more Humanure compost. And you know, chicken manure, horse manure, and all that stuff kind of has to sit around and kind of age and kind of get to a right, you know, homeostasis or gelling together. You don't want to put that stuff on too soon, especially chicken poop, because it'll just burn your garden right up. It's full of nitrogen. All right? So, OMRI, certified organic material for a growing medium in our raised bed. I'll leave the link down below. You guys check that out. I think Stacy's got dinner ready, so I'm gonna head into the house. Hopefully you guys got some good tips from this video. I went through how to build a raised bed. I showed you guys about the little secret down in the bottom of the raised bed, the hardware cloth. A lot of people don't talk about that. One more tip before you guys get out of here, because I'm dropping them today. If you don't want to put that much product in your raised beds, you could do hugelkultur. Hugelkultur is another way of growing food. You would basically put logs and sticks and stuff like that in the bottom of this, okay, to take up some of that volume, and then you would add the dirt in, so you would use less of the compost, and then that wood in there would break down over time, okay? Now that method also works good if you mound up. So if you lay your wood down, you put your dirt on top of it, and you let that hugelkultur go to work. And then you don't even need a raised bed. You just let it mound up and go to work, and then you just start planting in it. And there's guys, I've seen hugelkultur beds, you know, 10 feet tall, and I've seen them a couple of feet, you know, or a foot. So just like raised beds, you can build them as high as you want. I know guys that do the hugelkultur, and then they put the dirt on it, and then they grow all kinds of viney stuff and all this, you know, stuff that needs room to breathe and all that, and they just let it go wild and crazy, right? So there's lots of different ways you guys can garden, lots of ways to grow your own food. Growing your own food is way better than standing in a line and all that stuff you guys are going through right now. So keep thinking about that as you guys are out there going through all this trouble, and think about how you can become more self-sufficient right in your own property. All right? So if you guys got any questions, leave them down below. Even if you don't want to know anything or buy any of this product, go check out this link so you can learn more about how they process their compost. And also, if you guys get some, don't forget to use the coupon code OFFGRID so you can save a few bucks on your delivery and your compost for your garden. They drive like 3-4 hours to deliver this stuff. Matter of fact, I think Baker Creek Seed Company, one of our other good friends, uses all this stuff down there and all their grow stuff too. So it's something to think about. All right, I'm getting hungry, so we'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks for always stopping by the homestead. Hopefully you got some tips. Hit that subscribe button if you didn't on the way out, and give me a thumbs up. And leave a comment down below. Have you started growing yet? Are you about to get ready to grow? And did you know that about the hardware cloth? All right, see you guys on the next video.